I'm now moving towards our visionary voices. Yes, these visionary voices shall further build on the thoughts that our leaders have presented to us. With me today, I'm honored to have our very visionary voices from Miss Chanda Ransik. Sorry, so sorry about that. Ms. Chanda is the president and trustee of the Cambridge affiliated the Ardee schools in North and West India. She's an educationist who has acquired a name for herself in the field of teacher training and together with the chairperson, Mr. Fali Verma, has opened 5 schools in the past decade and a half. Schools which are committed to provide students to exceed their dreams and fulfill their potential academically, physically, and socially. I met Miss Chanda just about a few days, or let's say about a fortnight or so back, Ms. Chanda, if I'm not wrong. And I think it was an absolute pleasure meeting you because with her vision into what I could see is there was meaningful change that RD School aspires to bring in. You know, there is a very thought of process and not just a random uh, throw off throw off just an intent of hosting a just a workshop for teachers. So when we hosted a workshop for their school, the first thing that we saw was she sat down herself in our room to take notes of what we were sharing, and she was very clear in her mind as to what she wants for her school to have, for her teachers to embrace. We have a story from her school as well as one of the spotlight stories. And remember, Ranveer is also from the RD school. Ms. Chanda, sorry to have kept you waiting, but I think the voices are very important for us, and a visionary like you, it's an honor for us to have you in our room. Sorry, ma'am, are you on mute?
Yes. Good evening.
Please go. Good
Before
evening,
we
ma'am.
before it becomes good night. So first and foremost, I want to thank Meenakshi for extending this invitation and to me to share and collaborate my ideas with Microsoft, all the leaders sitting here, the teachers here, and this entire wonderful crowd. I would also like to compliment the organizers for choosing this week, this time to host this summit. We had just gone through about 10 days ago, a week ago of with the Paris summit and the world leaders coming together to discuss AI, the barriers, the gaps, the advancement, the development of AI. And I think all of us are tuned with it. And I think this is the best time to host this summit because everybody is sensitized, everybody is ready, everybody is already pre-warned, pre-informed before we have even come to the summit. Thank you. Now, let me start with my digital journey. And I'm wearing my digital hat today. So, first and foremost, let me tell you, I'm enamored by technology, the advancement. I completely believe in it. And I think there is no other way. However, I stand before you today as an immigrant in the digital world. I know most of the teachers here, probably the main workforce of teachers, from 30 to 50 are also kind of immigrants. And so we are not natives. But however, coming to me, my generation, we are probably the illegal immigrants. We are talking a lot about illegal immigrants from the US and Trump these days. So I call myself an illegal digital immigrant. So I think I started using computers in I think in 1980s. And I used the word processor to begin with. And once I started navigating it, I was the most thrilled person. And once, I mean, I was stunned that there were no mails and no post boxes, no letters, no buying the stamps. And it really worked like today. I never went back to writing mails the way once microwave came. I think most of us have never gone to the gas to heat our food. And of course, my next personal digital evolution was the online shopping, and of course, now the Blinkit. But finally, the game changer, let's call it AI, was ChatGPT. It was absolutely amazing how we could unburden ourselves. Now, today I've been asked to touch on the point about seamless integration of AI into the existing schools, into the existing learning patterns. Now, most importantly, without being seen as an additional burden. Additional burden is the key word for me today. Our workforce, which has to drive home AI, that means the teachers, into the next generation, is a workforce which is relatively burdened with the school education model that we have today, taking care of students, academics, IQ, EQ, SQ, and even PQ, parent quotient interference. What time, energy, motivation is left in this human teacher? They're not robots. So agencies like Microsoft, EdTech companies, and school managements need to consider and collaborate on how can AI be seamlessly integrated into schools. Right in the beginning, you showed the framework, which was very interesting. It also mentioned that teachers are cornerstones. So the teacher's motivation has to come into this. That is the gap. Software is developing, tools are developing, the students are ready to receive it. We have trainers now, as the gentleman before us told that some years ago there were hardly any trainers. We have trainers now. So, where is the gap? Now, let's go to the historical perspective first. Let me start with that and then I'll get into the motivation. And I'll give an example. When we opened the Ardee school 7 years ago, we, I think, introduced two labs. One was the Makers Lab, the Tinkering Lab, as you call it, and this, which was promoting the STEM education and the learning. And we opened up an incubation lab. This incubation lab, we tried, but we could not find trainers. And gradually, the lab was being used by students for coding, and finally, it became an additional staff room, sorry to say. So, what happened? Because there were no trainers, the infrastructure was ready, but the system wasn't. In fact, exactly like AI, I think AI, the birth was in 1960s, and over the years, it was a long journey. And later on came all the tools, additional tools, and all the equipment that you needed for it. It's not easy to replicate the human intelligence. And so it took a long time for it really to be ready. But now that you see in this Paris summit, when Prime Minister Modi went to it, and he said, this is the dawn of the AI age. So globally, we declared this is the AI age. I think that hit home to many, many people. And I would say to all the educators also that the time has come, trainers are available, tools are ready. So, what is missing? So, I would say the next point here, because I'm concerned with the teachers, is that most teachers need to be more motivated. Of course, there are some self-motivated ones. Now, when they are completely thrilled when they see or use the tools, but overburdening, which you all have used the word today, becomes a barrier. However, think back, what kind of motivation is actually works, intrinsic or extrinsic? I would say both. However, what happened 4 years ago? There was no motivation. What happened that without motivation, the entire education industry became digitally savvy and probably advanced in technology in 2 years as compared to the previous 10 years, as compared to the previous 20 years. What happened? Pandemic. It was the survival of the fittest. They had to reinvent themselves, they had to become digitally savvy. And I would say the teacher had a rebirth. She had a digital rebirth. Now, initially, they were lost in uncertainty, but there was no choice. So they became fluent. I remember even I was online watching the teachers move into Kahoot, into Sway. Suddenly, your PPT started having that slide share. Your newsletters became your flipped pages. Wonderful things. And everybody was highly excited. However, the time passed. The need passed. We came back to live classroom teaching. So, if this could happen now with AI, how can we motivate the teachers seamlessly to integrate AI into the lesson? Because they are the ones, they are the pillars, they are the ones, they are the cornerstones, and they have to do it. And things like multiple trainings or making it mandatory or threatening by saying it'll be checked into your review when we write about your review, it's not on. It does not happen. It cannot happen like that. So I would say it has to be done in multiple ways. I'll give some solutions, some suggestions later, but out of the box thinking is required. So for example, I get thousands of mails every day. I would say not mails, newsletters every day from different organizations and companies. And most of them, talking about a software which they are giving or which they want to come and meet me with. Not a single one. They're talking about the software. They're talking how good it is. They're talking about how it'll help the child. Not a single one actually motivates the teacher. When I send it to them, I don't get any replies. What does that show? There has to be a way. Now, we all realize the presence of AI. Now, for example, which was the tool which required no motivation? Nobody had to learn it. There were no trainers for it. Everybody self-learned it. Chat GPT, right? I think everyone now who's not even too digitally savvy is using Chat GPT because it was a fantastic tool and it helped us ourselves. So we did it without training. Motivation was at its minimal because we were intrinsically motivated for this. Now, again, the motivation is that most of the people, not the young people, are using AI without even realizing that they are using AI. We are using it in our daily lives. So, for example, online shopping. I casually typed hairstyles to suit older women. Since then, I don't ask for it. I'm flooded with not only hairstyles for older women, but clothes, accessories, scarves, shoes for older women. Tomorrow, I want to dress like a young woman. I will not know how to do it. Now, this week itself, at the Paris AI summit, our own prime minister said that this was the dawn of the AI age. So the AI world has its challenges of ethics, of security, guardrails, but we can't wait for it because AI is like a tsunami. AI is like a tsunami which is engulfing everyone. And most importantly, the children are getting already influenced. So this wave, this age is spreading swiftly and fast at the touch of mere buttons. In fact, it's like drinking from the fire hose. I see students and teachers in the corridors experimenting with it and not even actually understanding or knowing that it's AI. The other day, a student of grade 6, Viraj, he casually showed a weather website that he and his team have made. But this needs teachers who are very, very, very well versed, who are enthused about it, who have the energy for this technology, to not only understand it, but take this child forward. He's made it at his home with his teammates, with his friends at the zero period, at the zero lessons. But it requires teachers to give ideas on how to take it forward. So whether the adults are ready or not, the students are already using it. Now, I will not speak on the benefit and challenges. People before me have already spoken about many, many of the benefits. In fact, right in the beginning, your partners only spoke about that. Now, let's come to the challenges. Now, everyone has challenges. Recently, at the summit, AI summit, Sundar Pichai of Google spoke about it. Now, why I'm using these names? I'm only using these names to say that globally people are acknowledging it. That, yes, there are challenges, but not to be fearful and admitted that a balance needs to be maintained. And going by that, for example, he mentioned that in 5 years, by 2030, the chat GPT, like right now you ask questions and the chat GPT gives you back ideas and solutions. But soon you will have to give only a question and it will prepare a complete blueprint for you. Now look at it from the education point of view. So a teacher will ask, I have two students interested in basketball. Can you tell me how to do my math lesson? And the complete blueprint of how to integrate basketball into the math lesson, and only for two children, will be over there. So it's already developing leaps and bounds. Again, we're not talking about the challenges at the macro level, as somebody else already had mentioned about the digital divide, somebody who spoke before us. So we all are aware of it. But at the micro level, my humble opinion is the challenge is motivating, convincing, getting our teachers ready for it because they are the ones who are going to deliver. Now, look at the problem. We are asking the teachers to unlearn what they learned and now relearn. That's a big, big task. Now, why is the teacher not motivated? She is also wary because there is absence of proper guardrails and security. We are still dealing with plagiarism and cybersecurity. Last week we read that in Norway, was it, that they're returning to books and moving away from the screen. So what to listen to? It is not only the training, but the responsibility that comes with using AI with the children. Now, the teachers will have to integrate their knowledge and the tools of AI to their particular lesson plans, to their curriculum, to their topics. So let's have empathy for the teachers here and try to get together and create some better programs for them. And this is where I request all the software developers, etc. We have so many software developers coming, asking for a meeting with us, appointment, and telling us what they have produced. It's there. So much is happening. It's happening faster than actually the delivery. So you make a product. Let's work on the delivery after that. Like I said earlier, the chat GPT required no motivation. So come out with the tools to do with something like that, like Microsoft training. Recently, we had it at our school. And we did, I think the teachers were interested, rather introduced to report writing. It was a big hit. The biggest nightmare in the school for teachers is at the end to write reports. And everybody was like, oh my God, like fresh pizzas from Italy had suddenly arrived. They were so excited with this report writing. Of course, they also learned about Teach, Mate, Notes, GPT, video notes to make flashcards. Everything was very, very exciting, including your Microsoft Reflect. And then came the reading coach. And I would just like to, I don't know, Minakshi, is there time?
You could almost just wrap up your thoughts in a few minutes, please.
Okay, I'll wrap up.
A
So
minute.
I got this
A minute, please.
beautiful mail yesterday, a feedback from one of my teachers who had just tried your reading coach, and a fantastic mail she wrote to me. And then again we have our Sumer sir, music sir, how he has packed in AI so explicitly into their programs. And in fact, here, Minakshi, I would suggest that you have more teacher story. Get them to come out here and tell these mails what they are writing to me or these stories. They are amazing stories. Select your speakers and have stuff like this where the teachers actually then they can share what somebody is doing and take it from there. So I think that would be a good idea. I'll because we have a paucity of time, I'll miss out on reading these mails, which were absolutely fantastic. And so, as I said, that students are all ready. We have a Ranveer here. I'm sure many other schools have Ranveers, and we have to move forward. Now, I can only think of one solution, and that's the only contribution I'm making today, is that students and teachers can play an equal role in the learning. Like right now, I think Mark said that UNESCO has emphasized the need to humanize technology, that humanity should govern technology and not the other way around. So We should start with that. Now, now greatly we keep saying everything is student led. In the art department, the teacher is just starting to design and the students are making everything. So why cannot students and teachers collaborate to actually learn AI and integrate it into? So let's have a revolutionary thought. Students, Meenakshi will attend all your Microsoft trainings with the teachers, directly with the teachers, and navigate the teachers' prowess in the use of AI. And teachers also will play the devil's advocate. As Mrs. Narang said, you require a lot of EQ. AI has no EQ. So the teacher has to be there. She has to be there to have the guardrails, to advise. So additionally, all this should happen during class hours, during school hours. So a teacher does not have to spend her Saturday, Sunday, or evening to do it. Just twice a week would be enough. At least schools which are well equipped with technology. One size doesn't fit all. And so it's an idea for edtech companies, for Microsoft to consider something like this. Why the time is right now? Why? As our government, Prime Minister Modi himself has said that the budget is high. Now, India, we saw in Chandrayaan, we have an extreme talent. So in AI, it's going to happen. The same talent will come up and we'll be making cheaper tools, we'll be making cheaper software. And upskilling is a must for all teachers. So I'm telling my teachers this, please upskill yourself. And all the trainers, etc., we have to get together and find a learning uh, uh, thought for it. So my final thoughts on this are, we have the tool, we have the reason, we have the trainers. So what is stopping us? Few days ago, did you see the Aarti at the Yamuna River? Yamuna, not Mahakund. At this Delhi Yamuna River. If Yamuna actually gets cleaned in 3 years' time, we too can clean up our lessons with AI. The time is now, the moment is now. We have staring us at utility and a facility. What comes to my mind, my last line for today, is the Latin phrase carpe diem. Carpe diem, which means seize the moment. Thanks, Meenakshi, and
Thank
everyone
you,
else.
Ms. Chanda. I think you've just, I think I correctly addressed it as a visionary voice. You may call it a humble opinion. It is a visionary voice for us. Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. Absolutely amazing hearing you here. And I'm sure there are multiple people in the room who resonate with your thought. Thank you for your time as well.